Hey everyone, so this is one of my first videos based on all the parts I showed on one of my previous videos where I showed a bunch of printers, PCs, monitors and whatnot. Now all of this stuff here is pretty much video game stuff. I picked all this stuff up from some guy who does repairs and whatnot, and he just had this stuff lying around, so got disk drives and a couple of motherboards, some peripheral boards here encased in metal. So I'm gonna start scrapping this stuff and tell you what I would do with some of this stuff, and at the end of it I'll make a few piles and see how much money there is in all this stuff. So these little guys here, they're like little card readers found in some of the older PlayStation 3 consoles. So if you just pop out this metal casing, pretty easy to take out. You'll see there's a nice decent peripheral board in here. You see we have some tantalum chips here, a few monolithic, some IC chips. We have these card reader slots, and look at if you look at the edge here, all the pins, they're all gold, and all the gold goes all the way until here. So the pins are quite long, some good gold. So for someone who collects gold for processing and whatnot, these are pretty good. Usually these, I just put them in the peripheral board pile. And if I'm not too lazy, I'll remove the tantalum and small monolithics, but there's not much on this board that I use personally, so I just usually just scrap them. So I have a few of these, so let me just pop these out quickly. And they go pretty easy, nothing too complicated. With the metal casing, they just pops out pretty easy. And like I said, these are considered peripherals, so they're worth about $1.50 a pound. So there's some value if you're not into the whole refining for gold and whatnot. I don't do that personally because I don't have the time. And also there's a whole learning curve to it to learn what to use and how to use them with how much amount of chemicals and whatnot. So I'm not too keen on that stuff. So you have a nice little fan here that came out of a system, a little piece of wire, the fan 20 cents a pound, and they're almost a pound. I've done the math trying to remove this to get the copper and whatever, and just not worth the time and effort to get all of this out and removed and get the copper inside. So just put it in your copping bearing motors. Piece of metal here, nothing special, just a bunch of scrap. And as I'm talking, I'm making two little piles. And at the end, I'm just gonna tell you guys what all of this is worth. Second here. Cut the wire off the fan. Get a little bit of extra money there. Here's another messed up Blu-ray drive. Nothing too special in here. If you're willing to take everything apart, there's a little motor here, another little motor here, and this is also a magnet. Not sure if someone could do anything with that. If you open it up, you get another little motor here with a little sensor. If I knew this stuff was actually working, I would harvest it and sell it online somewhere. But I know this guy, he just gives me the garbage of the garbage, so there's no point of selling that as working because I know it's no good. So that goes in the garbage. And another drive here. Pop this guy out. So this one's a little more complete, but again, non-working. Now, what's interesting here is, well, you have the ribbon. The ribbon, great for people who do gold, because all the tips are gold. And I think, I'm not sure how deep the gold goes into this, but I know some of these ribbons have gold going in up to a certain depth here about. I'm not sure if this specific ribbon does, but I know some of the other ones found in the PlayStation 3 do. So that might be an idea for someone to maybe find a way to melt the plastic and keep the wiring inside, maybe through incinerating them like people do with IC chips. Maybe throw this in there too. But I usually just cut the tips. I do this because it's easy. You cut it and then you sell them on eBay for someone who knows how to refine this stuff. So again, you have another nice little drive there. It's a nice little ribbon. That's part of my wire section. Then we have this nice little board. I usually leave these as is. The only thing I pop out is this guy here, and I sell them in the flat pack / IC chip category on board sort. They're great and they give great prices. I don't bother taking other things out just because selling the board itself as a peripheral, you get about $1.50, $1.35. I think right now it's about $1.35. You can see these little IC chip things. They pop out really easy. You just bend the board and they pop out. So you should do the same thing when you get peripheral boards like this. Peripheral boards similar to this, gaming consoles, TV receivers, sound receivers. You can find them a bunch of places. And these specifically have quite a bit of monolithic capacitors. What I do with these is I take one of these and just pop them out like that. That's for the bigger ones. For the smaller ones here, they're kind of hard to see. I usually use a wood chisel and scrape them off completely. But for these bigger ones, come out very easy. Just grab, twist. Any type of plier would do. These I find are really good because of the needle point. You should definitely take out the monolithics on all your peripherals and even motherboards. I haven't run into anyone that complains about having them removed when I sell the boards, so I do it. And I get, like in one of my other videos, I get about $4 an ounce on those things. I recently saw a video where the guy gets about $80 per pound, which is not that bad. It's a little more than what I get on these, but definitely take them out. They're worth it. Definitely worth more than $1.50 per pound on peripheral boards. Let's see. Another drive. And actually I forgot to mention on these drives, on these Blu-ray drives, the laser on these are pretty good because you get gold here. You can remove this and sell it as a gold tipped connector or refine it yourself. There's a little small peripheral board, some wiring, that's pretty good. I know the shell of these lasers are aluminum. But another fun thing, they have a diode. Not sure if you can see it. There's a diode here that looks, when you remove it, looks like this. You can see there's all sorts of gold on it. Connectors are gold. Kind of hard to see on the camera. I can't get it to focus, but there's definitely gold on these little guys, and I remove them all. I keep the bad lasers and I remove them. But for the video, for the purpose of the video, because you can't really take those out and measure them and see how much they're actually worth, I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna sell it as is, as a scrap metal, and it's gonna be part of my scrap metal pile. So we get a little Wi-Fi board here, a little piece of metal on it, nice little peripheral board. What I do with these, I take out these two chips and sell them in my IC chip pile. Also has some gold here on this little gold connector, gold here. A lot better than the card reader, I find, on this one. A little bit more value, but yeah, here you go. So again, look, pretty easy. Snaps off. And it's a little IC chip there. Get about $5 a pound approximately, more or less. So it's worth taking these guys out, because they come out so easy. Here you go. Here's another part from a Blu-ray. Gold tipped wire here, little motor, whatnot. Oh, look at this guy. Little board full of rust. Someone dropped this in water. Definitely doesn't work. Again, just bend and remove the chips and you're good to go. Now look at this IC chip. This one has nice gold inside, if you look. Just rip that piece of metal out. There's gold here, gold there. Some more gold here. I'm sure there's plenty of gold on this little chip. Ooh, and look at this. A nice hunk of aluminum and copper. I know a lot of people like to get this tubing off, but it just takes too long. I don't bother. I just put it in my copper / aluminum heat sink pile. Take out the plastic. The rest goes in the pile, the aluminum pile there. You'll have more of those little boards, Wi-Fi boards. They also come most of the time with this little board and wire. So you get some more wire and whatnot. More fans. Tons of steel. All of this is metal, steel, whatever you want to call it. Fan. The fan, you can sell them, but it's not worth the hassle. Unless it's one of the higher quality fans that sell for maybe $15. These don't sell for much. And they're hard to sell, and they take time to sell, and they're just going to take up space. And you'll make, I think at the end of it, after fees and shipping and whatnot, you'll make just as much, or maybe a little less, a little more than what you would do, what you would get from scrapping it, but it's just not worth the time. So scrap these. Again, another motherboard, whatnot, another little Xbox board. So I'm gonna separate all this stuff and do a little count do a little weighing, and see how much money is in all of this stuff once I separate it. So, like I said, at the end of the video, I'll have a little price sheet with how much weight of each piece I have, and we'll go from there. Like, subscribe. Hopefully you like the video, and see you guys soon. Hey everyone. So, this is my next little project here. Is a non-working PlayStation 4. I'm sure most of you guys would be smart enough not to tear this apart just for the gold, because the parts are quite valuable, and just selling it like this would give you about 300 bucks. But let's say you happen to fall on one that's been crushed by something really heavy or a car or something, then you could scrap it for gold. So let's take this apart and see how everything works. So this guy here just slides open like that. And you have a little hard drive here. And you'll need some security Torx bits, and because they're pretty much everywhere. It's not small enough. This way. So there's a few of these screws over here. And the funny thing is, you could even sell this stuff, this plastic stuff, for quite a bit if you look around. So, like I said, the only way you should scrap one of these for gold and whatnot is if it's completely, totally smashed. That's that. And there's a few security tabs here. Sorry about the noise. So if this was something I would have personally bought at a retail store, like Best Buy or something, my warranty would just get voided. I just took out the warranty seals. What's that? So, just to show you guys what I just did, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 little screws here that are hidden behind these little tabs, and again they're security Torx screws, which Sony loves to use and everyone else hates. So there's 4 of these on the back. You'll pretty much notice them, especially the security ones. You have some writing on them stating that if it's removed, the warranty is over. And if you bought a PlayStation 4, you definitely have a warranty for at least a year. Since these have been out less than a year, you have a warranty. Alright, so now we've got that out, and now this just pops out like that. You just pull. See, there's like a little crack here. Just pull up and the cover just pops out. Put that on the side. Now we have a few more screws. So we got some Phillips screws over here. Another one over here. Some fun security Torx screws again. A couple of those. Let's take that stuff out. almost done here. Those Phillips screws out. Now we're able to remove the power supply once I get it. There you go. So as you can see, we have the PlayStation 4 power supply. Already you can see some copper in there, some aluminum, some little wire here. But again, don't forget, if you get one of these and it's in good condition, even if it's not working, hold on to it, because it's worth more than scrap value, that's for sure. This little Blu-ray drive cable out, and the antenna, the Wi-Fi Bluetooth antenna. So we got a little piece of steel and a little piece of wire, nothing too special. Okay, let's get this Blu-ray drive out. There are 3 little small Phillips screws over there. So remove that little piece of steel. And 1 little screw there. Try to jimmy this. So there might be a little screw in there. There's my little screwdriver. There you go, that's why I wasn't coming out. Just found another little security screw over here that has to be removed. Well, they like hiding these security screws. Sony is notorious for that. So now, just removed the Blu-ray drive. I have some ribbon with some gold right over there at the tips on each side. Got a little magnet here. I know the laser contains a little bit of gold. A little green board in here might pass as peripheral. And there you go. And that's the Blu-ray drive. Put that aside. Interesting. And here we go. Here's another little, I guess, peripheral board. You definitely have, I don't know if you can see that. We definitely have some gold over there. Some monolithic capacitors. I've talked about those in the past. They sell for quite a bit. I recently sold about 12 ounces of those for about 80 bucks. There's gold in this connector here, gold in here. You have some IC chips. That looks good. Again, some wire. Right. So now let's get to the motherboard. Now you pop this top off. Pretty much the same way you pop the other one off. There you go. Nice and easy. A little bit of trouble here. There we go. I'm getting it. Almost there. Ooh, there you go. Got that piece of plastic out. Now we're going to get access to the motherboard. There's a few more security torque screws. You got your little fan here, heat sink. We're almost here, almost on the motherboard, where most of the supposed scrapping will be done. But as mentioned, don't scrap. Do not scrap this board or anything on it until you know it's not working. So, we finally made it to the board. So, you can see the processor here. If you look in all these little crevices, it's all a bunch of gold in here. Again, you have those very nice big monolithic capacitors that you find on these PlayStation motherboards. Get some nice IC chips. Some gold in the connectors here, HDMI, Ethernet, little hard drive connection, some more gold there, some more gold in here. Overall, quite a bit of valuable stuff. Some more monolithic capacitors here, but like I said, it's working. Do not do anything to this. So that's the teardown and imaginary scrapping of this board. Like I said, if you get one of these, unless it's completely totaled, run over by a car, smashed to bits, do not scrap it. Even if it's not working, it's worth $200 to $300. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, comments, you can check it out below. and I'll try to answer and reply as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone. So this is part 3 of my, I guess what you would call teardown of a PlayStation 3 for scrapping reasons. I've done the motherboard. That's my first video. Just finished uploading the Blu-ray drive, and now we'll look at the power supply, see what's in one of these. So this is one of the 2 models that you'd probably get while opening one of these CECH A01 motherboards. Not many screws. So there's one here, another 2 on the side, another one here in the front, another 2 on the other side. That's pretty much it. So let's take them out and see what's in there. This is actually a working drive, so I'm not going to actually, not a working drive, but a working power supply, so I'm not going to tear it down. But I'll point out what some of the stuff is inside. And like that, you guys know if you guys have a dead power supply, you know what to do with it. So, one more screw I missed here in the back. So we have the top part here, my magnet, a little magnet here. This is a nice piece of aluminum. Then we have the bottom here, which is steel, magnet sticks, nice and simple. Then we have a little copper over here, over here, over here, some in here. A little bit over here too, so it's quite a bit of copper, or as some people would call them, copper bearing motors. Unless you open them up and strip the copper, then you just have copper. This screwdriver here is magnetic, so we've got some aluminum here and some aluminum here, and pretty much the rest of it you have pretty much low-grade board over here. So simple as that, nothing too complicated. A few screws and you're in there, and then you can just either unscrew these or try to rip them apart or whatnot. Obviously if it's working, it's worth more, you can sell it. If not, take it apart, strip it down, and make some money scrapping. For my next video, or next few videos, I'm probably gonna take apart a few cell phones in a way to show you if it's actually worth taking them apart for the board itself and selling the board, or just selling the whole cell phone. Also, I'm gonna make a video taking apart a high-end laser printer that I got that isn't working. It's not really high-end anymore. At one point you might have had to pay about $2,000 for it, but now maybe you'll be lucky to get $50 if it's working. So I'm gonna go through that and show you what's in a high-end printer. I know some people have done some videos on some of those bubble jets and whatnot, and obviously those don't have much, but we'll find out what's in one of those high-end printers. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon. Hey everyone, so I have this PlayStation 3 over here. It's one of the popular CECH A01 PlayStations that are backwards compatible. This one is non-working, so what I'm gonna do is take it apart and show you where there's some money in one of these things. So pop this little cover over here out, nice and simple. Pops out nice and easy. That's where the hard drive is. So you have some scrap value with this hard drive. It's pretty much a laptop hard drive. So you have little gold fingers here, you obviously the board, the aluminum inside and whatnot. So let's remove this security tab. Obviously if this was somewhat working, you'd be able to sell obviously the parts for a lot more, but for the video I'm gonna pretty much scrap everything, and I'm probably gonna make a video for each piece that's found in one of these PlayStations. There's a power supply, there's a Blu-ray drive, a few other smaller boards and whatnot. Pretty much to undo one of these you need a typical Phillips screwdriver, and you also need a Torx bit or screwdriver to remove the security screw over there. So here on the top we have 7 screws. These are easily taken out. For the time being, these screws are actually sellable. These are not common screws, so you can sell them as PlayStation screws pretty much anywhere online, and you'll make definitely more than scrap value on those. We'll put those aside. So yeah, these little tabs over here, you can just pry it open. There we go, we got the top off. So now over here we have the Blu-ray drive, we have the power supply, we have a few little boards that do have a little bit of gold on them. I'll show you where. So I'll take the Blu-ray drive off. So right away we have some gold over there on the ribbons, or at least on this ribbon. Some of the other ribbons on the PlayStation. Like you can see, this is the Blu-ray drive under. You get a nice little board with some monolithic capacitors, some IC chips. These connectors here are gold, but I'm going to go through that in another video. So let's remove some of these screws. So we got this little board. Like you can see, there's some monolithic capacitors, very small IC chips. There's definitely some gold in this connector over here. And again, some gold on the tip of the ribbons here. We've got this little card reader board. Unfortunately, these aren't too valuable unless you get extremely lucky and you find someone that really needs one of these. These don't usually break down very often, or at all practically. This one has some good gold, definitely. Some scrap metal over here. So in each of these little metal, I guess, casings, there's definitely gold. There's some gold right there. All these connectors are gold, little gold bits on the board. There's a few monolithic capacitors, some more gold here, the IC chips, so it's decent, nothing too special, but there's definitely gold on there. So here we have the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth board. It has obviously a ribbon, and the ribbon has definitely some gold on it. Then if we see here, we have a nice chip over here that definitely has gold on it. Some gold in here too. Monolithic capacitors. Some gold here in the connector. Take out the power supply. Pretty easy. So this is one of the types of power supply you'll find in this type of PlayStation. This is the CECH A01. There's about 6 or 7 different of these models in the different various PlayStation models. Surprisingly, I found that this top is aluminum, but as like the Blu-ray drive, I'm going to make another video on this. Now let's get to the main scrappable part here, which is the motherboard. Get rid of some of these screws. Again, these screws are quite specific to the PlayStation, so you can sell them as PlayStation screws and get more money, obviously, than scrap value. You can see you have a few cables like that. Not much gold, but at least you can scrap them with your wires and whatnot. So what we have here, below we have a little battery. We have the heatsink, which is pretty much all aluminum. It's a nice chunk of aluminum. It's at least a pound, even when you remove the plastic bits. Here we have, it's, I guess, power jack or on and off button on the back. You've got some cable. I have never opened these, but there might be some silver in here because it's a switch. Not too sure what kind of metal this is. Probably zinc or brass. I can't really tell. And I'm not too good with the metals yet. I'm pretty new at the scrapping. So let's remove the heatsink clamp. So we pretty much got a piece of metal here. Definitely not stainless because I've seen quite a few of those rusted. So let's remove a little battery here. And on the heatsink, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, there was a fan, and obviously if the fan's not working, you can put it I guess in your copper bearing motor pile or whatnot, or even open it up and take out the copper itself and whatnot. Let's take out this fan. But you can sell these also for more than the value, but they don't sell for much. Profit wise, you might make $1 or $2 at most after having to ship it and whatnot. Not too valuable. Might not be worth the hassle. So as you can see, you have another piece of metal here, or steel I should say, and here's the heatsink. So you definitely have some copper, aluminum, you have this plastic stuff you can remove. The only thing that's actual metal on here are these little, I guess, supports, if you want to call them. Maybe you could remove them. I leave them on there. Until now I haven't had a problem scrapping them as aluminum. And obviously it's worth a little more than aluminum because of the copper here. So now we have the motherboard. Unlike a PC motherboard, obviously the value is not the same, but there's definitely some value. You have the IC chips here, you have a few more here. I guess you can call them flat packs here. You got your CPU, GPU. You can easily remove these, I guess, heat plates, as they call them, or at least that's what I've seen them called. These are obviously aluminum. Take them out, and then you have the chip, which has gold in it. You have a lot of monolithic capacitors. These little small guys, there's plenty of them, and for some reason on the PlayStation they're practically all huge, so the weight is pretty good on them, and I usually get about $4 per 4 ounces of these, and there's quite a few on the PlayStation. You obviously have all the ports. These all have gold in them. The hard drive port, I guess you can call it, that is gold. You have the USB ports in the front, those have gold in them, and you have this little connector here. This one also has some gold in it, some gold pins. Gold wise, that's pretty much all there is. There's these little guys here too. I don't usually take them out, but you could, and they have gold in them too. The only thing that kind of fooled me about one of these boards was this here. These seem to be, I guess, brass plated, not fully brass, because if you put a magnet to them, there's actually some magnets. The magnets still kind of pull or stick to these, so they're definitely not brass. So I was collecting them at one point, and I was like, let's see if they actually are magnetic, or am I wasting my time? And wasting my time. Also, there's quite a bit of copper. These little guys here, these are all copper. They break off pretty easy, and then you can just crush them very easily with some pliers or whatnot, and you can get at the copper pretty easy. Another thing these guys have quite a bit of is these guys over here. There's quite a few of these, and pretty much they're tantalum capacitors. There's a value on them. I haven't had much luck with them, but I've heard people get quite a bit of money on them. And also for the monolithic capacitors, obviously there's the palladium and the silver and the whatnot in those. So those you should keep, and I've had really good luck with them. So that's pretty much what's in a PlayStation. And obviously the most valuable piece is the motherboard. Obviously if it's a working motherboard, you sell the motherboard working.
This one was not working, and it was not repairable, or at least not by me, so it's scrap. I just wanna thank some of the guys already on YouTube doing scrap videos, like Mike the Scrapper and Moose Scrapper. Before them, I was actually throwing this stuff away. I deal with a lot of video game stuff, PCs and whatnot, and once they wouldn't work, I would put them in a box, leave them at the curb, and someone else was making money from scrapping. And I started, the whole reason I started scrapping is I thought to myself, these things must have some value somewhere, so started looking on YouTube, and I found those guys, and I started keeping all this stuff. My house, I would say my garage is jam-packed now, but it's worth it because there's quite a bit of money. These should, just without touching these, you should probably be able to easily get 25 cents a pound as medium grade board. Maybe your local scrapper might give you more, maybe high grade, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm pretty new to all of this, so yeah, so happy scrapping. And that's the first video on PlayStation 3. Subscribe. If you have any questions, send me an email. I'm definitely going to be putting up a few more videos, especially for the PlayStation 3. I have the Blu-ray drive and the power supply to go through. Those shouldn't take too long. There's some good value in them, but not too much. And then I'm just going to keep on making different videos. Hopefully you guys like them, and hopefully I'll keep on doing them. Talk to you soon.